What's up, y'all? Once again, Mike from the basement, but this time it's Mike driving from the car. So let's get into today's topic. So today, well, a while ago, but I wasn't able to say nothing about it. I seen a news report that said Baltimore is the dirtiest city in the United States. And so I had to really think about that. I don't even know, but maybe someone can send me of how many cities there are in the United States. It has to be many, 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 many. But to say Baltimore is the dirtiest city in the United States kind of offended me. Now, I would say as I'm looking out the window, I see napkins, I see socks, I see an open container, food, I think holder, like a donut holder, the little plastic wrap. But as I'm driving down this part of the street, I also see a trash can where you can go put trash, and right next to that is where you can put the dog. The dog takes a poop, you can put it in this green thing as you're walking the dog. So, mind you, to say that some areas of Baltimore could use a lot of attention other than other areas of Baltimore. I don't think Baltimore is the dirtiest city in the United States. I absolutely don't believe that. Although Baltimore does face its own crisis in maintaining a clean environment, but we have to look at the demographics of what's going on in the neighborhoods. It's sad to say that even if I'm traveling in an area of the neighborhood that is mostly black, or I'm going to a certain part of the neighborhood that's mostly white, you still see trash everywhere. So I think it's more so about people caring about where you live at and how you perceive your neighborhood. I, for one, I'm a little older, but I remember when I was young, probably like 12, 13, or 14, that people used to get up on Saturdays and clean the neighborhood up. All our, grandmas and, big mamas and them. Now I can actually remember people turning old tires into plant holders, put the dirt in there and put plants in it. And it was really striking to see to do that. I also remember people used to scrub their steps. I don't know if they do that anymore, but people used to have a lot of love for their neighborhood. I think that's what's missing. I think the fact that people are just throwing trash down when they finish eating, or trash blowing over from a trash can, or people from out your neighborhood that's coming through your neighborhood, because that plays a major effect also. Remember, I did the story about the people that didn't live in my neighborhood but was throwing stuff in my neighborhood, and I had to address them. So that plays a lot of part of it too. I think for most part, a lot of people would like their neighborhood to be clean, because if your neighborhood is clean, the most likely you won't see rodents. I'm just saying most likely. I'm not saying you're never going to see them, but most likely you're not. But for the most part, I was offended by that, saying that Baltimore City is the dirtiest city in America. Now, as I'm honestly riding, so I'm trying to say if I see something. That was the only incident I say. Now, I see something right here. What's this? Someone left a beer bottle on the curb. Okay, so that could be considered, if someone sees that could be considered trash, and that could be considered one of the things that probably say that people are dirty. But I think the economics, the poverty of the neighborhoods, and a lot of times people just don't care. Man, this thing is bright. Every morning I get this thing. People just don't care. A lot of times what you're shown is what you mimic. And I was blessed to have my grandparents when I was young. I was blessed to have my mother. I was blessed to have a stepfather. Just things that people put in me. I think to shape me, not help mold me, because you can have all the support you want, but you're gonna do what you want to do when you want to do it. But just things such of that nature. Now where I'm more driving at now, I don't see no trash. But if you do go in and out of city streets, you probably will see a lot of trash. Instead of talking about the trash, let's get together and just try to clean it up. I think that's the only way we're going to really be able to help the situation. But a lot of times people have to start caring. You have to start caring about neighborhoods, which is not even your neighborhood probably, but just if you see something, pick it up. Just pick the trash up. I think that'll do right well for how the city is. The city has put up a lot of murals of different things to bring some type of beauty to the city. Now, the city has a lot of work to do. I think the mayor's doing a fantastic job, if you ask me. He came into a situation where though he had to fix it. The homicide rate is down. Unfortunately, the car theft is probably still up, but that's just juveniles being juveniles and, doing what they're not supposed to be doing. So, but I think he's doing a fantastic job. He's trying, but he can't do it alone. We need to help him get back into these, not just once. I think I did see like people cleaning up neighborhoods, like, I don't know if it was once a month. I know you can't get out there every day and do it. Let's just be honest and real about that. But to get back to that, to the cleaning part, just clean up your city, clean up your neighborhood, clean up where you live at. I don't think everybody have the money to print, what is those things called? Like little boards to say we're gonna have a cleanup day. And I don't know if everybody's with the group texts, because I don't know if everybody wants everybody's phone number, but it has to be a way that you can organize something to just walk through and clean up. Also, you got to see when people throw stuff in your neighborhood. If you see it, you got to address them on that quick. I had an incident the other day. Let me be honest. Oh my goodness, I had an incident the other day, right? So I went to go get something because I was hungry. So I took my youngest son. And so my Ring doorbell camera rung. So I can answer it on my phone, as you know. So I say, who is it? So the picture pop up. It's some little kids. They done came and threw stuff at the house, being destructive a little bit. They threw a rake at the house, and one little boy threw a rock at the house. So I get back to the house, and wasn't no real damage. And so the wife told me that they threw a rock at the top window. That really pissed me off. Now, I told my young son, come on, we got to go find them. Not to hurt them, not to jump on them, not to beat them up. I remember a long time ago when I used to be destructive in my neighborhood, the guys in the neighborhood that was way older than me used to tell me, don't destroy where you live at. And so that got me to thinking, maybe I should go find these kids. So I go find the kids the first time. I tell them, man, don't throw no rakes and stuff at my house. So they walk off. So I go find them again. And so they start running like I was trying to attack them, man. They running through the alleys and they running around the blocks. And when I finally catch them in the car, they gassed out, they tired. I said, come here, man, come here. And I said, listen, you live over here, right? He said, yeah. I said, I live right here, right? I'm not gonna say where we live at. He said, yeah. I said, man, we live in the same neighborhood. Don't destroy where you live at. Don't destroy somebody else's stuff. I said, my son could come around and destroy your family stuff, your mother's stuff. I said, you wouldn't like that, would you? He said, no. I told him, calm down, because his heart was beating. He was breathing fast. I said, calm down. I'm not here to hurt you. I'm here to teach you. Don't destroy where we live at, because that's all we have. Now, I know I see a lot of things about people. People say, if you live in a bad neighborhood, you just move out. Everyone don't have the means to do that. Everyone doesn't have the finances to do that. Look at this. Man, almost caused an accident. But everyone doesn't have finances to do that. Everyone doesn't have the capital to do that. So you have to make where you live at the best you can. So we have to teach our young people why not to do this, why we shouldn't do that. And that conversation I had with that young man, it was 2 young men and 2 young girls. That conversation I had with him made me feel a lot better than being aggressive to them or cussing their little tail out. That's not going to solve nothing. Just tell them why it was wrong to do that. And that showed my son that it's another way besides getting out the car and running up on somebody and all that. We have to have another alternative to teach them why we shouldn't do stuff and why they shouldn't do stuff. So it went by doing that. The young man actually had, after I had a talk with him, who I was talking to, extended his hand in the car and shook my hand and said, "Thank you, I understand." And that made me feel better, because now he understands why we shouldn't trash our own neighborhoods, why we shouldn't trash other people's property, why we got to respect other people's things, why we got to appreciate other people's things. Of course, we live, what they were saying in the hood. Okay, that doesn't define who we are because just we live there. It's just our financial thing makes us live there. But that doesn't define who we are because we live there. So we have to do better and clean up more. Now, I see a lot of trash cans. A lot of times, well, it is trash right here, but it's like if it looks like if it rained, that all the trash came down to one of those things where so the water goes through, but it's stopped up. But then you ask where the trash cans come, where the trash come from. So I do see trash cans. A lot of people can open. Where I live at, I keep one of my trash cans open so people can throw trash in there. I have 3 trash cans. I have the city 2 trash cans, and I have another trash can. I keep one of them open. That's not the recycled one. I keep the other one open so people can listen. There's a trash can right there I keep open. Just throw your trash in there. Not to neglect anything, but to keep the neighborhood clean. I can't be the only one to do it. We all have to do it. So it's just a food for thought. Let's just keep our neighborhoods clean. Let's just respect other people's property. Let's respect where other people live at. You know, Baltimore City is not the dirtiest city in America. This usually was Mike from the basement. You on the mic with Mike, but then now it's Mike driving to work. Love and peace, y'all.